Alright. Let's get into the game. Hello everyone and welcome to our Game 2 of Episode 4, King of the Hill. We have here who is currently on streak unknown number, I think it's 9 or 8, it's crazy, Nico, who's going to be playing as the OKW on the western side of Kolodny Firma. Now today, his opponent, I think his first entry into King of the Hill is going to be Isi. You may know him as the Sealdor, if you've been playing a lot of Company of Heroes over the last 5 years. You'll probably know him from the 2v2 scene, but here he is, ranking, I think his rank was 14 or 10 with the Brits we saw. But he has very, very good ranked factions across all factions. So 4 with Soviets, OKW, Austere. He's a good player, but is he the answer to Nico? Kolodny Firma, of course, great map, one of the competitive greats. We see here at the start, Nico, he's playing his Stern Pioneers in a nice little sight position there. You can see the game that's going on here. He's trying to get that line of sight to engage them without taking damage from the Stern Pioneers at close range. That is a good engagement. That is really what you want to see at the start of this. He could see that the territory point was being capped just on the edge of the fog of war. And that's going to allow him to safely take his fuel and deny Nico the start to the game I think he wanted, which is to wipe a few models off of the Tommies, take the territory on the left-hand side. So really good starting engagement. Again, you can see Izzy's just his reaction speed. He goes in, sees that the Volksgrenadiers were there. You saw him run back. I think we're going to be in for a good game. Sure, people are wondering what's left with the Brits now, since Royal Artillery Regiment had its precious Valentine's tanks spam nerfed. But the Brits are actually very good lockdown defensive faction. Later on to the game, they get some pretty beastly components to their arsenal, namely the Churchill, which we could see from Vanguard. Of course, other commanders that we've got here, Royal Engineer Regiment with the AVRE, great unit. And still Royal Artillery Regiment. Maybe we'll get to see the new Valentine.
The enemy cut our supply line.
These are all great engagements from Izzy. All over the start of this. He's now brought out the Universal Carrier, which he's going to use to push around the Volksgrenadiers in this cover position. Getting them out of cover, of course, is really good, allowing the Coaxial MG there just to take down some of the models. He's now bringing in a Tommy squad from the south. Of course, he wants to make sure that he gets this strategic point back so he can connect himself with his resources. Also has to be really, really careful of the Universal Carrier because it can take penetrating shots from the light arms fire. This is great though, he actually baits the shots from the Volksgrenadiers with the Universal Carrier, then gets up close with the Tommy squad. Does need to get into that cover position though if he wants to win this fight confidently. There's the repairs on the Universal Carrier. Good early game so far. The next thing though, of course, he's managed to get the strategic decap. Needs to get that VP in the center, I think, to complete it. And I think so far maybe 2 models lost for Izzy. 10 killed. So right at the start of this.
We're losing a capture point.
A strong performance. Got a 4th squad.
Machine gun ready to shoot some bastards.
There's the Vickers upgrade on the Universal Carrier. Really like this because it's going to help him just really control the Volksgrenadiers and the Stern Pioneers coming into his resource zone in the south. At the same time, he'll be able to move his infantry across to other areas of the map and keep distracting Nico. Got to be very careful of this Tommy squad on the north. It's a good retreat time.
causing
Nico
trouble,
here
trying to take
sensibly
one of our
getting on the
points.
retreat path of this Tommy squad as well that has to make a long retreat through the center of the map.
A new engineer section is waiting for orders.
Zappers ready to go.
So nothing massive at the start of the game. Of course, just good play so far.
Enemy infantry having a pop. Flank attack by enemy. Promotion. Good.
But I actually think that in this situation, it's Nico that really has to be the aggressor. You do not want to let the Brits sit back on their resources, sit back on a defensive position. Nico, in fact, has to be as creative as he can. This is interesting. I think he's going to try and block the Tommies here. And again, Izzy sees it straight away, hits the retreat button. He's got really, really good sense in these engagements. Hasn't actually been caught off guard once. Nico's not managed to find a retreat path that has wiped a squad or taken models down. Battle grouper in the base for Nico. So he's not going to go for that mechanized regiment that we've seen in most of the other games so far. How the Brits love to fight. Pop a lot of units in a cover position, get one running up the front, and even though that universal carrier is low health, it's doing a fantastic job at just moving all these units around every single time. The control of this has been perfect. He's quick on it. Actually, gets one of the abilities off there for the suppressing fire, so he manages to get suppression on the Volksgrenadier squad. And again, actually utilizing that ability with the Vickers upgrade just makes the Universal Carrier so good at preventing OKW from peeking behind the lines. Let's say, you know, sometimes the little units in Company of Heroes have abilities that make them very, very good into the late game, and actually being able to suppress units like that from an armoured mobile platform is a really big benefit for Issy. You see here, he's bringing two Tommy squads. He's actually attacking Nico from the north. And he's getting on the retreat path of this Volksgrenadier squad, which will have to cross some negative cover as it goes back towards the base. There's the first model drop. Should be a second one down. I'm sure this is going to lose enough health. And there's the first squad wipe. This time for Nico. And Isildur absolutely deserves that at the moment. He hops back into the building even with the incendiary, and I think the incendiary is actually wearing off now, so he's going to be able to comfortably engage that Volksgrenadier squad. Hops out at the perfect time, and he can get that squad back to base and healed without really any losses. In fact, I think he's confident to perhaps even heal them on the front lines. This is phenomenal Brit play, actually.
A capture point is being overrun.
This is exactly what you want to be doing with the Brits. You don't really want to be retreating them back to the base. You want to be keeping them on the front line. He's always got a squad of Tommies healing. He's up to the 5-man squad limit, and he's catching units on their retreat paths. So I'm actually really, really impressed here.
Armored car completed.
Even just from an RTS perspective, he's making sure that he keeps field presence all the time. His teching's good, his map play's been good, his engagement sense has been good. And Nico's going to have to be very, very careful in this game. Here come the mines. Mines being laid in places you really would never expect. I'm going to see that first engagement with the AEC now. Now, this is interesting because Nico has gone for the battle grouper headquarters. It's only going to have access to the flak half track.
Our supply line's broken.
So the counter to this AEC really would need to be the Raketten. Or some very decent mine and Faust play. Otherwise the AEC has just got complete control of this situation. Dare I say it, I feel like Nico might actually be struggling here. Again, look at this, 7-29! Nico has not managed to capitalize on anything, and we're seeing now Issy's army is just starting to grow and exceed that in Nico's field presence.
Improved grenades, Mills bombs, are now being issued from stores.
Yeah, this is just beautiful, really, just making use of every second. He's mining. He's got the universal carrier still working as well. We just heard that the Mills bombs, that's the grenades for the Tommy infantry, have been unlocked. So actually, now these infantry are going to be even more threatening. I guess what makes this really special as well is that Izzy is he's playing offensively. He's actually really unlocking the offensive nature of the Brits without really using anything like commandos. You know, he's just using the standard opening. He's just using it very well. That Raketten's here, but one of the things on a map like Colony Firma, the Raketten's going to have a real trouble getting eyes on the AEC. Unless the AEC overextends, there's always going to be infantry on the front line. There's always going to be infantry able to push and identify the Raketten long before it gets the opportunity to get close enough for a few shots on the AEC. People have been calling out for a new king in this tournament. We had an entire week last week where Nico was just dominant the whole time. No! What a grenade! Ah! Easy! Just switched on God mode. What on earth? Nico's just being manhandled here. This isn't even a match. I can't even believe what I'm seeing. Nico has no idea what to do. He can't even get the right angle on the Raketten. Every single time, Issy's managed to negate the arc of fire. I've never seen plays like this consistently. We always see great plays, but not continually for like 12 minutes. I am impressed. I am really impressed. The squad wipes are on point. The reactions are on point. You see every single engagement is being monitored. I feel like I'm watching a machine play. Has the DeepMind project been on Company of Heroes at all? Is this
have 300 points at the moment.
Well, this is really a great showing. The map control has been so good for a large portion of this game. There are 2 mobile units for Issy that are just controlling the map. Nico left with 1 Raketten, and I think he's probably going to have to be forced into playing Special Operations Doctrine now, because I don't even think he can get the resources out to get a vehicle and his... sorry, a Tier 4 and a vehicle. Of course, the Command Panther will be called in. But Nico's really going to have to start thinking about how he's going to play this now. He needs the infantry for pushing. He's brought out the MG34 to try and suppress some of those infantry that have been chaotic to him.
Enemy causing trouble, trying to take one of our points. Damned enemies trying to take a point from us.
I really sense the desperation. He's running very low health squads, potentially through a lot of forces in enemy lines.
Point is being overrun.
More mines here from EC, so if these Stone Pioneers do try and chase, they are going to trigger that. There is no support package upgrade yet. Raketten gets found out by Tommies on the munitions point north. The Universal Carrier with the Vickers upgrade. Still, at this stage of the game, so good. Great grenade. Forces Nico to dodge a little bit. It's good suppression there, good positioning from the MG34. But of course, immediately just negated by a good flank from Issy around the north side. We have got a Vickers machine gun in the church. And of course, getting a lot of sight from this. You can see whenever OKW pokes its head out from any of these channels. So even the sight control is just good, and Nico there has actually gone for Overwatch Doctrine. Jaeger Light Infantry have been called in from off-map.
Squad back to full strength.
Well, I didn't expect this from this game. This is Izzy's worst faction as well. Important to point that out. He's rank 4 with Soviets, OKW, and Ostir. I think 10 or 14 with Brits. I think it was 14. 10 with USF, so... Right, grenades still going down. The Jaeger infantry there trying to get a northern cover position so that they can fire at the backs of the Tommies. The advantage in these cover engagements. The AEC manages to get around the back of the Raketten. Got a great line of sight opportunity there. The Tommies are able to push as well. So again, Nico, who really needs to be focused on this engagement in the north, has been forced to actually play where the Raketten is. And ultimately, actually, it's Nico who comes out on top there, wiping a squad of the Tommies. That being said, though, would have come out on top if he hadn't lost his MG34. The Raketten's okay, that can be recrewed for now. But here comes the off-map fire support from the Royal Artillery Regiment. Sorry, no, from the Engineer Regiment.
Commander abilities ready.
And yeah, not surprised at all there. Nico finally removed from the throne by a fantastic performance by EC.